Hi, and welcome everybody to another edition of the Winner Circle Sports Betting Podcast. I'm Ross Benjamin. As always, I'm joined by my buddy and great professional sports handicapper, Chip Chirimbus. It's Friday, April the 16th. Chip, how's your week, buddy?
No, it's been great. We've been rolling along. I passed yesterday, but we're coming off winners in the NBA and having a great streak. Ross, in Major League Baseball, after starting 1-1, have hit 10 of 11 megabuck or best bet plays. So I'm really feeling good about what's going on out there. We always said how when baseball starts, everything just seems to open up for us. And I know you're doing really well in the NBA, and the game's been coming through for you as well. So it's a great time of the year for us.
Yeah, speaking of the NBA, I've now gone 17-6 with my last 23. And let me make sure I got this accurate. 56-35 with my last 91, which is good for 62% in the NBA. And all of those picks have occurred this season. Right now, number 4 in the NBA at sportscapping.com. Number 1 ratings, I believe, at Sports Memo and winningcappers.net. You know, Chip, I looked at the standings where I'm number 4 in the NBA at Sports Capping, and me and you have had this discussion before, and it's well worth mentioning. And I don't mean to rain on anybody's parade, but there is a gentleman that's ahead of me that's number 1, but he's given out like 500 and something NBA picks this season. And when you stop and think about that, it's you're averaging that out to be somewhere around 10 picks a day.
Yeah.
And it all looks good in paper when you hit 53% and you're up at the top of the standings. But, explain to the folks why that can be very disadvantageous
Well,
by doing so.
I think one of the reasons is we call rate of return,
Yeah.
and at 53, right, and at 53%, and he's got a volume of games,
Yeah.
and he's got first. So he has a number of winners at 53%, and he's got a plus, which is really great to be in a plus in the first place.
Sure.
But to play 10 games in a day, Ross, I mean, you're shelling out a lot of money. And if you have one of those really bad days where you go 2-8 or something along those lines, it's hard for you to recover betting the same amount of money on the next day because your bankroll has to be depleted, and all of a sudden you're looking at a huge deficit by the end of the week if that's the way you're playing. And so it's a lot of games. I've named my company the A play because we used to come out the single strongest play, 1 game a day, and the public did demand a little bit more action, so we've opened it up. I now do 3 plays, but 10, I really, I don't know how you can get away with it.
No. Well, you can get away with, I'll do credit. I mean, even if
Yeah.
you're at 55% at amount, here's the problem though, Chip. When you're putting out that kind of volume of plays, it's okay, I guess, if you're a $20 better a game, right? I mean, if you have a bad day, you can't get hurt. But if you're somebody who likes to play a couple hundred a game to 100 a game, if you have 2 bad days, well, let's face it, he's going to have bad days. And say the guy goes 4-16 in a 2-day period, and you just started with him, you're done already. You know
Right,
what I mean?
like you said, if you're betting $100 a day, that's $1,000 worth of action. If you're betting
Yeah.
$300 or $500 a game, all of a sudden after those 2 days, Ross, it's pretty tough mentally to get yourself in a position where you got to bail out. And from that point on, you're really under a lot of pressure. But like I said, I prefer a higher rate of return with a
Yes.
higher quality of plays and less games. And I think you're pretty much the same way.
Yeah, absolutely. And speaking of my 10-star top plays, which are the equivalent of Chip's mega bucks
Right.
plays, which he's won 10 of his last 11. I've gone 33-18 with my last 51 in all sports. So that's 65% of folks. We don't give out more than one of those a day in a specific sport. In other words, you're not going to get 2 megabuck plays in the NBA in a single day. You're not going to get 2 or more NBA 10-star top plays from me
Right.
either. And just a reminder, folks, our websites, Chips at chipwins.com.
Right.
Real easy. I'm at rbwins.com, and that's what we both do. We win on a consistent basis. That's why we named the websites what we named them. And today we're going to give you an NBA free pick. And, Chip, I see so many over the last few days, double digit favorites in the NBA.
Wow.
I
Yeah.
can't remember how many, this many in this short of a time at any particular time in recent years. Your thoughts and then your free pick.
Well, that caused me to pass for only the second time this entire season, because they're just, to me, with those large numbers, there weren't competitive games, and I didn't quite get an edge. And some of my clients weren't exactly that happy. They said, "Well, what are you leaning toward?" And I'm saying I'm leaning toward taking the day off, because these numbers were just too outrageous for me to play. And Ross, by the way, that sample size you're giving about your record is huge. I mean, and people can sit and say they're at 65% when they're 8-4. But you've got a pretty good substantial track record there.
Thank you, Chip.
I do want to point that out. The My free play today is going to be on against San Antonio, against Portland. I'm going to take San Antonio, and this Portland team was on a great run. And San Antonio right now isn't doing too well. I think they've lost 4 of the last 5 against the number. And Greg Popovich said when they went and lost to Toronto last time out, Toronto had 4 guys sidelined. And the Spurs got annihilated on the boards. So he said he's committed to having them go to the boards and get the ball for this game. And this Portland team, with CJ McCollum coming back, you would think that after the way they had been playing, and with Lillard and even Carmelo Anthony, certainly one of my least favorites in the league, actually playing good basketball, that they would start to rise. And yet they've only won 2 of 10 games since the All-Star break. So I'm going to play against this team. I'm going to play against Portland. They're a favorite on the road. I just don't have that faith in them. And I think San Antonio is in a rebound situation after a poor performance. So I'm going to take San Antonio at home against Portland.
So it's San Antonio plus 1.5 at home against Portland for Chip Chirimbas's free NBA pick on Friday the 16th. Chip, too, Portland's an undersized team. So if they're going to get well on the boards, meaning San Antonio, this is the time to do it.
It's a good spot to do it, right?
Yeah. The Clippers at Philadelphia is going to be my free pick. Right now, the 76ers are a 2.5-point favorite. Sometimes you just need to simplify. And here's what I'm looking at here. It's a short number. Philadelphia, since the start of last year in true road games, not the games that were played in the bubble last year, the games actually played in Philadelphia, has gone 50-7 straight up at home. And when you're laying just 2.5, you can't ignore that. On top of the fact that the 76ers at home since the start of last year, even within that 50-7 number, how about 17-1 straight up in ATS as an underdog or favorite at home of 5 or less? So they fall within that category here. And even better, 8-0 straight up in ATS as a home favorite of 6 or less during that specific time when facing a winning team, which the LA Clippers obviously are. And by the way, the Clippers, believe it or not, as good as they are, they're 0-4 straight up in ATS, and their last 4 as a dog. And also, this will be the Clippers' 3rd road game in 4 days. And the Clippers 0-4 straight up in ATS in their last 4 this season when playing their 3rd consecutive road game, which they will be tonight. I'm taking Philadelphia here, Chip, minus 2.5 over the LA Clippers. Chip Chirimbas is on the San Antonio Spurs plus 1.5 at home against Portland. Those are our free picks in the NBA for Friday the 16th. Chip, before we go, tell the folks what you got going on this weekend. And again, refresh their memory on how well you're doing.
Yeah, and I will. Thank you very much. And by the way, on that Philadelphia game, I think they have a 10-1 series in straight up games. They've beaten the Clippers 10 out of the last 11 times they've played, which is really quite surprising to me, because I looked at that game that you just mentioned with Philadelphia. So I think that's a huge factor as well. Every day, Ross, I put out what I call my megabuck play, or my single strongest play in each sport, and I try to post 3 games. And if 3 isn't there, you're just going to get that single megabuck play. But usually on the weekends, it's not too difficult to find 3 games on a Saturday and a Sunday. But go to the website, follow the buy links, and chipwins.com. We've hit 10 of the last 11 best bets, megabuck plays the leader in a number of different websites across the country as far as money won with guaranteed plays. And so it's just having the faith and stay with it and holding the rod, Ross. You just gotta stay there with it, and hopefully we'll come up with another big winner this weekend.
I'm sure you will, Chip. And that's chipwins.com. That's where you could find all his selections on a daily basis. You could also subscribe to his weekly or monthly packages, annual package as well. And his phone number is right there at the website. So if you want something tailored to your needs
Right.
where it's not offered right on the website, give Chip a call and he'll work it out with you. He's an easy guy to work with. He's not a sucker either. So don't call and ask for a monthly package for $100. It's not going to happen. Any event, you could find me, rbwins.com. Again, folks, NBA just on a tear this season, 17-6 with my last 23 and 56 and let me make sure I got this right, 56-35 with my last 91. Those picks have all occurred this season. That's 62%. My Major League Baseball picks off to a 12-9 start. Not terrific, but those of you who follow me know I don't give out big money line favorites. Matter of fact, 8 of my selections in Major League Baseball thus far have been totals, and I've won 6 of the 8. So great start in Major League Baseball there. In my 10-star top plays, which again are equivalent to Chip's Megabucks plays that he's won 10 of the last 11. I've won 35 of my, or 33 of my last 51, which is good for 65%. That's rbwins.com, chipwins.com. Invest a little to make a lot. Until the next time, folks, good luck and God bless.